From BLC Studios in Mankato, Minnesota, this is the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Duncan, with your host, Shane Frederick.
This is the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Duncan. My name is Shane Frederick. I'm your host, and joining me today is Minnesota State Senior Captain Wyatt Aamodt. How you doing today, Wyatt?
Good, Freddie. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Nice to see you. Congrats on the big sweep this weekend out at UMass. That's a great start to the season for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you go on the road that first weekend, you never really know what to expect, especially having a lot of new guys. So to go out there and beat a quality team like that kind of says a lot about our group, especially the way we did that on Sunday. Just having that in our back pocket's gonna be big for us down the road. Going into this next weekend doesn't really matter too much. We've turned the page on that, but just know that we can come back from a deficit is going to be good for us down the road there.
Yeah, just to recap, you won on Saturday 2-0, and got Dryden McKay his 25th career shutout. He's one away from tying the national record set by Ryan Miller at Michigan State. And then the next day you get down 3-0, and I know what I was thinking from afar, which was, let's split against the national champions on the road to start the season. That's pretty good, but that's not what happened. You guys mounted a furious comeback and came back and won to 6-3. What a turnaround! What sparked that turnaround in your mind?
It's a good question, really. I think just kind of our group sticking with it. Nathan Smith was a good player for us all weekend. He's one of those guys that has carried a lot of weight for us often, and he did that again this weekend. So to have Smitty play the way he did, just create that energy and just kind of, it's contagious. Our other lines kind of picked up on that and started playing their game down low and possessing the puck. And once we kind of got that spark going, I think everyone kind of bought into that process, and it was go time from there. So to have Smitty get that goal at the end of the second was big time for us. Going in that locker room with a little spark and some energy and coming out and jumping on them early in the third.
Yeah, there's a big difference, it seems, between a 3-goal deficit and a 2-goal deficit, especially when you race it in late in the third period or in the second period and give yourselves a little bit of life. It seems like that's a little bit of a spark. You're no longer thinking that you don't have this and it's not your day, and it puts a little doubt in the other team's mind, it seems. Yeah,
absolutely. That 3-goal deficit, is a little bit of a higher mountain to climb. So getting that goal at the end of the second was big for us. And people always say a 2-goal lead in hockey is the worst lead to have. So
right.
I guess that helped us going into the third there. So like I said, for Smitty to get us on the board, that was big time. And got to tip your hat to him. He had a good weekend for us.
Yeah, really, really big weekend. And he was, or CCHA, excuse me. I've said this is the third podcast in a row, I think, where I've messed that up to start. So that's okay. But CCHA preseason player of the year. And he certainly proved some people right that he's got a chance to have a really good season and got off to a great start. I'm sure that you guys as a team probably have pretty high expectations for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is with Nathan there, he holds himself to a higher standard than we do. Obviously he's one of our buddies and teammates and we want him to succeed, but he's one of those guys that's just so competitive to himself that he always wants the best, for the group, but just to make sure he keeps pushing himself and he's never satisfied. This kind of says a lot about his character and where he wants to go with his hockey career.
The first game, you guys get the shutout, and I'm sure as a defenseman that you take even a little extra pride in that and making sure that your goaltender gets that shutout. What went so well for you guys in that game, especially defensively? I know the third period, UMass made a push, and Dryden was a little bit busier than he was in the first 2 periods, but you guys seem to be doing some things right as far as playing in your own end and possessing pucks at the other end.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, UMass made their push in the third. Props to them. They came out hard in the third there and kind of threw everything, put the kitchen sink at us there. And just to have a guy like Dryden McKay back there, kind of our backbone, he has been for 3+ years now. So that kind of says a lot about his character. He's never shaky. I've never, after playing with him for 3+ years, I've never looked at him and been like, wow, Dryden's nervous, or he's shaky. Just not who he is. So it's kind of always been a good thing for us. Like I said, he's been our backbone. So to have him back there and kind of be the core of our D core, our pack, and in general, says a lot. But I thought our D core overall had a good weekend. We played 7 D both games, and I thought everyone had a good weekend, solid. I have a guy like Tony Malinowski, who might not have got a ton of playing time last year, stepped in and played very well. And Benton Mass, who his first couple of games with us played very well as well. So obviously happy to see guys like that having some success and obviously helping the team get a big win there.
Is that something that you thought of over the course of the offseason, that the D-Corps could be really the backbone of the team, especially with having so much experience back? And you bring in a guy like Benton Mass, who's got 4 years of experience. Malinowski, you mentioned, got his feet wet a little bit last year. But you had, a real good core coming back, really only losing Reese Smolik, and not that that's a small loss at all. It's a big loss, but having so much experience back, did you feel like that could be kind of the core of the team a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, losing a guy like Reese isn't easy. It kind of takes a hit. But I think that just means a little bit more to the rest of our D-Corps. We just kind of knew we had to pick up those pieces that, we might have been lacking without him. So I think our D-Corps has done a good job of that so far. Everyone had good summers and kind of bought in, and we take pride in what we do back there as a group. And every good team starts that D-Corps, and defense wins championships. So like I said, we take pride in what we do back there, and it might not always be the prettiest, but it's honest man's work. It's a basement game is what we like to say.
A basement game?
Blue collar guys.
When you look at, you losing Reese, we mentioned he was your captain last year, and you're filling that role this year. You're wearing the C. Congratulations on being named captain. Was that a surprise to you? And what kind of responsibility do you feel that falls on your shoulders when that happens, and as that baton gets passed from one D-man to another?
Yeah, I thought Reese did a great job last year. Obviously being a leader isn't always the easiest thing, and Reese handled that very well. And I've had the honor of learning from great captains in the past, like Rivera and Coda, Michaelis, Reese. All those guys have taught me a lot. But like Coach always says, you don't have to, just because you have a letter doesn't mean those are the only leaders. We have a lot of good leaders in that group, and it makes it easier on us three that, like I said, it isn't just us leading that squad. It's kind of everyone buying in, pulling that rope together. Other guys like, Julian and Dryden and Benton, Carroll, all those older guys, they're helping us too. It's not just a 3-man operation by any means at all, because that's not how we work. So It's the whole team buying into that leadership role, and just kind of pushing each other every day to get better. And
having a couple assistants who are in their 5th year of college hockey is helpful too, with Reggie Lutz and Jack McNeely, wearing the A's on their sweaters.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Jack went through it last year with being a leader, so that helps too. And absolutely great quality guys, 2 of my good buddies, and obviously good hockey players too. So having those guys we can always go to with, problems, or if we want to talk, or they'll do the same with me. So just having 2 of your buddies that you kind of go to battle with and know who they are as a person, as a player, and their personalities helps that system too. So like I said, I can't credit those guys enough for everything they do for our entire group, and coming back for that 5th year to take one more stab at it.
What's your projection been like in terms of your growth, I guess I should say, when you came in as a freshman to now, and you feel like every year you've gotten a little bit more responsibility on your shoulders as a player, going from that first year to now?
Yeah, coming in my freshman year, I played most games, and I was in the stands for a few, which is to be expected, obviously, and that's okay. Then my sophomore year, I didn't play a ton of games. I was scratched basically more often than I wasn't, but I think that was the biggest learning experience for myself that I've had here, just kind of how to handle that operation, that adversity. And I've learned, had the opportunity to learn from other guys in the past that, no matter what it is, and you're not good enough or whatever, just what do you got to do to help the team in any way you can. And so my sophomore year, I think I learned a lot in that aspect of it's all about the team, and that's been the biggest thing for me. Just show up to the rink every day, leave your baggage at the door, and it's all about the team from there on. So just get your work in, do whatever you can, and just like I said, it's all about the team from there on out. So just gotta help anyone else in any way you can, and just keep kind of going from there. And so that was sophomore year was definitely a big learning lesson for me. Then just to kind of build off that going into my junior year last year, and got to play a little bit more, and like I said, I guess learn from Reese and some of those other leaders, and kind of just see how they like to do things and, you know, how they treat their bodies and treat themselves like a pro, but more importantly, how they are as people. Like as Coach Hastings always says, we're trying to develop, you know, people before players too. So that's a big thing with why a lot of us choose to come here. So I'm just trying to keep going, put my best foot forward as a person, as a player, and just kind of help this team do whatever we can to win.
I mean, it's got to be hard. I mean, it's what you want, but it's also difficult that the competition that you know, among positions to get into that, you know, to be a top 6 defenseman, to know that, you know, there's other guys who are 7 and 8 who are clamoring to get in, who might be playing well in practice, who you see playing well in practice, or maybe you thought you were when you were trying to get into the lineup as a sophomore. That competition ultimately makes the team better, but it can be a difficult grind to go through it throughout the season. What's the best way to get through it? I mean, do you have people helping you? Do you have your own process that you have to work through when that happens? What gets you through it to the other side that you become? Because it can go either way for different guys. It's happened where, you know, you get out of the lineup and they might not come back to the point where you're a captain now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's never easy, and everyone kind of handles it differently. But I think the biggest thing is just kind of putting that ego aside and just knowing that it's for the better for the team. And obviously, we all trust Coach Hastings and what he's done with this program. So to kind of buy into that, you know, factor of it, that, you know, it's always team first here, and never put yourself first. But just to manage that, you know, obviously having good people around you always helps. You know, there's always those support groups, whether it's family members, you know, siblings, girlfriends, friends, whatever, teammates. It's always good to have that, you know, that out for you. Mm-hmm. And everyone's is different. You know, for me, I had those people that I could talk to and kind of help me through that mentally, and just, like I said, just go to the rink every day and just put your best foot forward, because that's all you can control. So I just try to go through that process of having a positive attitude. And like I said, I learned that from other guys in the past, just kind of how they dealt with it. So then now, you know, being an older guy and a leader on this team, I just want to help those guys going mm-hmm. through it, because I know it's not easy. Right. And everyone handles it differently. Because obviously, you know, you come here and you want to play, and you're used to being, you know, one of the better players on your team, if not the best player on your team in high school, juniors, AAA. Mm-hmm. So to kind of come and get that and watch a game from the stands isn't always fun. But like I said, it's that competitive atmosphere in practice that pushes us all to be better. And at the end of the day, that's why we're here. We all want to be, you know, better players, better people. And I think being a Maverick helps us do that.
Was there a moment when things really clicked for you last year, do you think, and that where you really felt comfortable, or that you've had your spot was pretty secure based on the way you were playing, or anything like that?
I wouldn't say my spot's ever been secured here. Actually, I know that's for sure that it hasn't been. So
still not?
Yeah, literally. That's fine. That's awesome. Just like I said, it's that competitive atmosphere that every day just trying to get better. And last year, I, you know, kind of just bought into more of the, you know, simplicity defensive game. And, you know, we have players like Akito and mm-hmm. those guys, you know, that like to do that offensive game. That's, you know, props to them. They're good at it. They know what they are. And so just kind of playing to our identity and our role, I thought that kind of helped me maintain a spot in the lineup last year.
Blocking shots.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of fun.
Is it fun?
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you do it with your head.
Yeah, the one with your head, and I think was that the same game, or was it a different game where I think you blocked more shots than Dryden had saves?
Yeah, it was the same one.
Same one?
It's 3 that shift, the one with the head.
Yes, 3 that shift. Yeah, maybe we can get a clip spliced in here from that game last year. That was something. I just remember looking at the score sheets after every period and counting your blocks and counting Dryden's saves and realizing that by the end of the game, there's a chance Wyatt Aamodt might have more block shots than McKay will have saves. And sure enough, I think that was the case.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. I don't know why we always think it's a good idea to go way out of our way when we have obviously a very good goaltender, and he always jokes around with us like, you guys play defense, I'll play goalie. So obviously there's a time and a place, you know, to sacrifice your body and do that. But like I said, we have a very good goaltender back there, so mm-hmm. we don't need to get out of position and do that.
Well, there's an expectation too. I mean, it seems like Coach Hastings has talked about that a lot, where getting that buy-in from players to block shots, or at least get a stick on a shot. You don't necessarily have to put your head in front of it, but get something in front of it, or disrupt the play a little bit. And because obviously the fewer pucks that get to Dryden, as many as he's going to save with his great numbers, you know, still a lower chance of getting scored on.
Yep, and like I said, it's a kind of commitment thing and respect thing from the guys. Because, you know, at the end of the day, let's just be honest. You want to play. You want to make your peers happy and your teammates happy. And it's like I said, it's a respect thing. So if you see, someone willing to sacrifice their body to, block that shot for the betterment of the team, you're going to respect them and you're going to want to build off it. So I think we've done a good job of kind of taking that, the confidence and, building off a block shot or, a hit and stuff like that. I think we had a great group with the energy and they like to do that, past years and this year as well. At the end of the last UMass game the weekend, Dave Celia had a big block at the end. There's 2-0 game. If he doesn't block that one at the point, who knows what happens if that gets through. So I think a lot of guys earn their respect going through that way. Like I said, sacrificing their body. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's just for the betterment of the group.
Yeah, as much as it was difficult last year to watch a game in an empty arena, it was cool, from my standpoint, having covered the team as long as I have covered the program, you could really hear the bench in an empty arena. And whether it was you blocking shots or someone blocking shots on a big penalty kill or late in the game to preserve a shutout or a 1-goal win, to watch the bench get fired up and excited with every block shot. It's kind of a neat thing to see, and just you don't hear it when the crowd's loud, when there's 5,000 people in there, and you realize how much it actually means to the team to try to get that win for that reason, with that kind of sacrifice. Because I know you guys are a lot braver than I am getting in front of some of those shots.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking about this the other day on the bus, growing up, going to Duluth games in college, being from the area. I'd always watch, whether there's a goal, block shot, there's no fans, usually none of their fans are building, just the guys and the coaches, excited about a block shot or a big hit. So I always kind of thought it was funny to see that perspective of it, then be in that, setting, and just, we got to build our own energy and kind of create our own energy, especially in a away barn that's, either sold out or, we don't have fans there with us. So it's kind of us against the world mentality. So I need a little victory we can get with the block shot or something like that and kind of create some energy for our group. I think we better do our best and build off it.
Sure. Well, you mentioned being from northern Minnesota, from Hermantown, and I was thinking about this the other day. There really haven't over the years been a lot of northern Minnesota players who have made it down to Mankato to play for Minnesota State. 2 guys from Hermantown now with you and Ryan Sandlin, and I know a lot of players from that area don't get too far out of town. They go right next door to Duluth or maybe the University of Minnesota, maybe elsewhere. Being a northern guy, how do you get more northern guys down to southern Minnesota?
That's a good question. I think Siani and I and Otter sometimes talk about that, who might be those next guys. But, it's obviously a tough decision, going through that process, and, got to tip your hat to Duluth and Coach Shannon there. That he's built a great program, and a lot of my buddies and, a lot of Duluth area guys like to go there, and that's, fine, great for them. But I think there's definitely more out there. So I try to mention some comments to some of those younger guys in Hermantown when I skate with them in the summer or something. Hey, there's other things out there as well.
Right.
So I think just having the success the program's had under Coach Hastings is kind of, leaving a mark in that way and having a little bit more of a positive impact in the area, more noticeable. So I think anything we can do to get a couple more of those Hermantown kids down here, I'll be willing to go to bat for those guys any day.
A few Iron Rangers too, right?
Yeah, I don't mind Iron Rangers either.
I spent a year on the Iron Range. My first year out of college, it was at the newspaper there, so I got a little soft spot in my heart.
They're special people.
Yes, they are. They really are. And I'm sure you played plenty of games up there, in Hibbing and Virginia. And,
a lot of good buddies from all those towns up there.
How did you make the decision to come to Minnesota State? What was the biggest factor for you when you were making that real difficult decision in life? Yeah,
that's obviously a big decision, and it's a good problem to have, when you gotta think about those decisions and all that. And obviously lucky enough to have that, and fortunate enough and thankful to my parents and all, that support group that kind of helped me, guide me through that process. But I just think everything about Mankato was too good to pass up. I remember going on my visit with my dad, and he came down. Obviously, it was nice having him down. I'm lucky he came down. And after seeing everything, we were leaving town. He's bringing back to the airport. I was going to fly back to juniors, and we stopped at that holiday in St. Peter. He's like, "What do you think?" I looked at him like, I think this is it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll just tell you one thing. This is all I'm going to say in the whole process. You'd be stupid if you don't. I was like, okay. And then obviously got back to Coach Hastings within the next couple of days. And just between the staff and the history, and I wanted to be a part of something, the building of a program like this. I didn't want to go in somewhere and kind of be given something. I think that kind of says a lot about the program here. Just everyone wants more, and we're in that building process and kind of going brick by brick and kind of building our foundation, I think is a special thing to be a part of. And it just kind of says a lot about the character of the guys that are here, chose to come here, kind of the chip on the shoulder. They didn't want to go somewhere, where everything was given or something like that. So I think that's been a big part of our success in Mankato is just the type of people that our coaching staff brings in, just kind of wanting more and wanting to be a part of something special, the building of it.
And you obviously experienced that last year, getting the first NCAA win, winning the second game, getting to the Frozen Four, that being part of the first team to do those things, is that what you're kind of referring to there? And this being with that being special? Yeah,
absolutely. That's definitely a special thing for us as the players and the guys. But it's a bigger thing. I shouldn't say bigger, but it's obviously important to people like you also that have been part of Maverick hockey for so long. I think that's just a stepping stone, and where we want to go with this program, whether it's the players, the community. It's one thing I'll say I love about Mankato, the community is all involved, and that, everyone's all hands on deck, and what can we do? Let's get Maverick hockey going. So I think that's a cool, special part about being in Mankato. Just doing step by step like that. But like I said, that's just one step, and obviously we want more, and got a little taste of the candy last year. So I think that's been some motivation throughout the summer. And, as Precious got going, it's hard not to look forward, want playoffs right now. You can't look 30 plus games ahead.
Right.
But obviously it's good to get that experience and that win, but we're back to this year. We've turned the page on that. That's in the past, and we learned our lessons there and took our experiences, but this is all about this year now, and I just want one more stab at it.
That's the hard thing too, right? About even last weekend. It's a great weekend. But it's the first weekend of October.
Yep.
And now you guys are number one in the country. And I don't know if that puts any more pressure on you, but it certainly puts you guys in a spot where the expectations get raised maybe a bit more. I mean, they were already high, but it's also, you can't rest on it because it's October 2nd and 3rd. It's something that, come middle of February, people aren't going to be talking necessarily about, what happened at UMass.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just being ranked number one, obviously it's, nice to be viewed in that manner by other teams and coaches, in that area, but it doesn't buy us a cup of coffee versus a team like St. Cloud. They have a very good team, a deep group, and, you got to tip your hat to what they've done and, respect them coming into our barn, but at the same time, we owe them one from last year, and we've kind of had this one circled on our calendars for a while, so we're excited and ready to get going.
Yeah, it's you mentioned the Mankato community. You mentioned St. Cloud State. Obviously, that's the series this weekend. Number one versus number two in the country. It's you're going to have fans in the barn, which there were only a few by the end of the year last year. Everything about it points to a lot of excitement. How do you kind of approach the weekend without getting too hyped up for it, because everyone else around here is, I'm sure, very excited about seeing you guys play for the first time this season in person and against an opponent like St. Cloud?
Yeah, exactly. Just get the fans back in the building. Like I said, the Maverick fans that have been with us for how long. I'm excited for those people to get back in the building. We're excited to have them for sure. But we saw what can happen if we're not really focused. With the UMass hanging their banner and all that, but we just got to maintain our focus. Excited to have fans back in the building, and you don't play college hockey to play in front of nobody.
Right.
That's part of the experience, and why we all want to play college hockey is playing in front of the fans and student section. Play for a school. It means a lot to us, so we're excited to have the group back in the Verizon Center, Mayo Health Clinic, I guess, whatever it is. And
it's been a lot of names,
yeah,
but we'll get it right.
It's a tongue twister.
Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center.
Mayo Health Clinic of Mankato System Event Center. We're excited to get everyone back, though. It's obviously good having those fans back and just to build off those guys. So the whole team's excited for that. I can tell you that for free. So we're looking forward to getting going.
What after last weekend, where do you think you need to keep getting better? I mean, I know it's one weekend. You're probably going to answer every area, right? But is there areas that you, whether it's personally or team-wise, that you feel like, hey, we got to work on some things?
Yeah, like I said, you can get better in every area for sure. I think, as a group, we got to just get our, I would say consistency up. Just, can't take shifts off, especially against good opponents.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to come back and haunt you. So we gotta work on our consistency of our shifts, whether that's, returners, new guys, whatever. It's us as a group that doesn't, just fall on a single person or a line or a defensive core. So I think that's a whole team buy-in there, and we know that as a group. So that's one thing we gotta get better on. Gotta stay out of the box too.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, going against a team like St. Cloud, they're coming off a hot power play weekend, so
right.
We can't be giving them special team opportunities. So I think that's a couple areas we're going to focus on going this week and just kind of playing our game, knowing what makes us successful and staying out of the box.
Seems like St. Cloud State always has a good power play.
Yeah, especially when they go for 7 for 10 against St. Thomas. So they're coming off a hot weekend. So
yeah,
we're looking forward to the challenge of getting up against those guys on the power play and penalty kill.
Well, going into the season, you're, it's so, college hockey is so strange. I brought this up on other podcasts that, Saturday was technically the first official day of the season. I know you guys have been practicing before that, and it's with some limitations on when coaches can be on the ice with you and how many hours a week they can skate with you and that sort of thing. And you're able, I know a lot falls on your shoulders as a captain to make sure everything else is going right when the coaches aren't out there. And but it does seem like when you get thrown right into the fire where you're playing at UMass and then you got St. Cloud State and then next weekend it will be the icebreaker where you're playing Providence and then either Michigan or UMD, and it's such a grind of a schedule. It's not football where you have training camp and a big set of practices that lead up to the start of the season. It's you just jumped right into the fire. So it's fun, especially when you sweep, but is there difficulties in that, or is it just, are you able to get enough done going into the official start date of October 2nd? Because I'm sure there's things like special teams and that sort of, those areas that all still have to be worked out over time.
Yeah, like I said, it's definitely difficult. I think more so on the coaches, how they view it than us.
You're just playing hockey, right?
Yeah, they got a lot on their plate, to kind of get us, whether it's, like I said, special teams or systematically stuff with having a lot of new guys. So they've been busy, leading up to that weekend, like I said, with having the limitations on the ice. So whether that was, just, telling leadership group what, they want to get started practice or video sessions or all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there's a lot that goes into leading into a season like that. We've been here since middle of August,
right.
And we've all kind of been itching and had that first game circled on our calendar. So it's hard not to kind of get too excited or revved up right away, just because, it's a long process leading up to those games and having to start, with those 6 games before that off weekend. It's definitely you're thrown in the fire right away.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, last weekend said a lot about our group just in the early test of kind of how we handled some adversity there. And I think the only thing we can do there is kind of put that in our back pocket and just learn from it and just try not to put ourselves in that situation in the future, which is obviously easier said than done. But just look forward to this weekend, and just take each game by game. Can't, skip forward to a few or do that. So just take it game by game and, stick to our process and kind of what makes us successful.
Sounds good. Well, hey, thanks, Wyatt. I appreciate you joining me today. Fun conversation and, great start to the year, and best of luck this weekend against the Huskies.
Thanks, Freddie. Thanks for having me.
All right. That's the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast presented by Duncan. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe wherever you subscribe to your podcasts. See you next week.